Matt. I'm Sven Harvey.
And I'm David Zabilio. And tonight we're going to be covering the PS Vita. Now, I've heard your arguments on this many times, and I totally agree with you why you wanted to make this so early in format's viewing schedule.
Yes.
Let the boys and girls at home know why you feel so passionate about this.
Right, well, I don't think this has had a fair whack at the retail market, especially here in the UK. Reason for this is I've had the machine, I was very fortunate, I've had the machine since before it came out. I had an advanced unit. And ever since it came out, it's had mixed press at best. But it seemed like everybody got the knives out for it.
Well, okay, I agree with you that it did come out to some very harsh reviews. I mean, you know I love my PSP. I love all my handhelds.
Yeah.
And I was originally going to get it until I read some reviews, and then I thought, are they going to do with this what they did with the PSP and release loads of different versions? And then I thought, you know what, I'll wait for them to, iron out the wrinkles. And it wasn't until you brought yours round going, oh, this is so shiny. And I saw that beautiful screen that I bottled down and went, yeah, you know what, I've got to buy one of these. But in all fairness, are we going to just blame the reviews it got? I mean, in England, when the machine was originally released, we had a major retailer struggling with its finances, not carrying the whole catalogue that was available at the time.
I think that was a massive problem for it, to be fair. When it first came out, there wasn't a single retailer in the UK who had the entire launch lineup of retail games on the shelf.
Yeah, because it actually came out with a decent lineup of games.
It was crazy. If you counted the digital releases for day of launch as well as the actual retail releases, there was 30 titles out.
I don't think any other handheld has come out with that many out.
Not even the PSP. And you also got to bear in mind that the PSP was actually the biggest selling console on launch week ever until the PlayStation 4 came out. The Vita didn't do anywhere near as well as they expected it to do, to be brutally honest. Though, to be fair, I think the £240 price point, or £280 for the 3G version, which is what this is, probably affected it somewhat.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the 3G version, there's two versions of the original machine. They've now brought out a new version which is massively stripped down, but we'll get to that in a second. There's the 3G version, which meant that you could put a SIM card in, which let it hook into a phone network. What phone networks?
Well, originally it was supported by Vodafone, and in fact if you signed up with Vodafone you got to download the Wipeout 2048 for free.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that's going anymore, to be honest with you.
That's a shame.
But I actually found that popping my Virgin SIM in, which was not specifically for the machine in any way, shape or form, resulted in a faster connection anyway.
Yeah, they specialise with the EE network now, so that would make sense. Now, unfortunately, and I do feel that this is an unfortunate, they've released a new version of the PS Vita, which got rid of the gorgeous silver trim. Yeah. Which, to be fair, take it or leave it. But they took away the screen. Yes, they've basically downgraded the screen from an OLED screen, OLED, which is gorgeous, stunning, and they've dropped it down to an LCD screen with backlighting. Now, what amazes me is, I mean, let's face it, they did that because of the cost. Oh yeah, they completely did that for the cost. But they put forward all these arguments as to why they did it, and
it's not really a downgrade.
That makes no. It's not really a downgrade.
Oh yeah.
No, it's a massive downgrade. They then argued about the thickness of the screen. You can't get a thinner screen
than OLED, and the fact that battery use. It was like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah. So somebody in the press department really ought to read the spec.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Screen.
In the last 2 years since this originally came out, fair enough, LCD technology has got better, but so has OLED.
Yeah, but the trouble is, everybody knows how great this technology is. Everybody thought that this was going to be mass-produced on reels because you could. I was looking forward to, in like 10, maybe 15 years, having wallpaper and having my own personal holiday.
Which is the idea. I mean, that would have been brilliant.
And let's face it, it's not
getting
going
there. It's not getting there. And even though you can do 4K screens quite happily, or look out for the Geekology episode on that.
Oh yeah.
It's such a shame they've brought it down. I mean, okay, it's slightly thinner now, it's slightly lighter,
But I would have expected that anyway.
Yeah, and it's got a 1 gig memory card built in.
They should have. Well, no. To be fair, one of the down points of the unit was that it didn't have any onboard memory.
Yeah. But then almost every bundle you can buy of the first generation machine comes with at least 4 gig memory card now anyway. Right. And a lot of them come with 8 or 12 or 16 gigs.
Actually, you know, ironically, for me personally, that was always the biggest down point for the Vita. The fact that it has a specific memory card memory that's not usable on any other machine or format.
Tell you what, we'll switch this off for a minute and we'll show you the machine in a little bit more detail. We'll put some pictures up as well. But
including the mystery port.
Oh, the mystery port, yes, absolutely. Now, when I first saw a prototype of these, which was the September before it was released, a lot of people just went, wow.
That's because it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. I mean,
the design of it is phenomenal.
This has got executive toy written all over it. Okay, it picks up fingerprints, but you know, it's a touch screen.
It's a touch screen.
What do you expect? I mean, looking around the machine, you've got your D-pad, you've got a pair of the actual analog sticks, which you just don't get on things generally. No. And I'm sorry, but the 3DS's circle pad, nowhere near as good as these. You've got the pair of shoulder buttons, touch screen on the front, touch panel on the back, which everybody ripped into.
I don't know why,
got
because
it.
The games that included it as part of it were so much fun.
I mean, the most recent one that comes to mind for ones that really do take the advantage of it is Tear Away, where you actually have to tear up through the skin of the world to make certain things happen, which is just brilliant. Looking around the ports on the silver trim, we'll go just to the side here where we find the SIM module or SIM card for the mobile networks, because this is the 3G model rather than just the basic Wi-Fi one, because there was 2 models at launch. Down the bottom we find the memory card port, and in there I've got the teeny tiny little PlayStation Vita 32 gig memory card, which is about the same size as a micro SD.
It's actually about twice as thick and slightly wider.
Yeah.
But I totally get why you'd think that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just look at it next to each other without looking at them to the side.
Yeah, if you don't look at it that way.
Absolutely.
The only reason I know that is just the sheer volume of handheld devices that use.
Absolutely. You've got these lovely turned aluminium buttons for the power and the volume controls. In here, under this, we have the socket to put in the retail games, so that's the Need for Speed game there, and there's also the mystery port, which is here, which Sony have never ever suggested was supposed to connect into it.
They've never confessed.
There's nothing. I was kind of hoping it might have been a 4G unit I had in mind, but
you know, I think there's a reason that it's a mystery port. Now, they released this 2 years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
The original concept of you being able to play PlayStation 3 games on it
didn't really work.
Yeah, they only did a couple. But PS4, on the other hand,
now
fully integrated.
When you bear in mind that the prototype name for the PlayStation 4, or working name, was Orbis, you suddenly have Orbis Vita, which is Circle of Life.
Yeah.
So they were obviously designed very early on to work together. Okay. One of the things I will mention quickly about it though is these lovely sticks on the front. Originally it was only going to have the one. I'm so glad they put 2 in. And the reason was because the British studio said they should have 2 on it. Specifically Studio Liverpool, who are no longer with us, unfortunately.
That's true. Now Sven, as we're trying to keep the video lengths down, why don't you go for the plus points and I'll go for the negative points.
Okay.
So,
plus points, there's an awful lot of software available for it. Regardless of what anybody will tell you, because a lot of people will go, there's no games for it.
Oh, that's not true.
It's so
apart from the retail games, and I have to say, okay,
these boxes are quite cool.
These are good. This is where Nintendo lost out. Yeah. This is what GameCube games should have come in.
Yeah, and in Japan they were in very, very similar sized box. Now this is about the smallest you can get away with on retail shelves, and have a retail presence that people will notice. But even then, it's still. Look how small it is inside the box. It's so small. It's ridiculous.
Especially when a lot of the games don't even come with
a manual or anything. No, it's crazy. So those are really quite nice and a different way of displaying your games.
But not only was the physical catalogue, the download catalogue
even at launch,
phenomenal.
Across the retail games and the download games, there was 30 titles at launch. But that was just the PS Vita titles.
Yeah, because they're independents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, is that a lot of people don't realise that the PlayStation Vita can also download and play PlayStation 1, PlayStation Store games.
It's like 99%?
99% of the games on PlayStation Store will work on it. You've got the PSP Minis, or what were the PSP Minis, which are just now called the Minis. 99% of those will work, as well as basically any of the ones that will work on the PS3 also work on the Vita. 99% of the PSP games work.
Isn't that only because for that other 1% there were licensing issues?
I believe so. I'm not quite sure what was going on with that. But on top of that, ever since the PlayStation Vita came out, so far you've got Vita games, you've got PS1 games, you've got PSP games, and the PS Mini games all working. And then after it was released, they also introduced PlayStation Mobile games, which are actually tweaked Android games essentially, which are specifically PlayStationized for Sony mobile phones and Sony tablets originally, but actually some other manufacturers' devices now support it as well, and all those will work.
Actually, that brings me to what I feel is one of the negative points for the machine. As you mentioned, the memory sticks, which are memory specific.
Yeah.
Every time you put on a download game or a physical game, it takes up one of these gorgeous little icons on the screen. But you can only have 100 icons on the screen. So if you own one of the bigger sticks, 32 gig, and the new ones coming out, which are 64.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of these games are in meg.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can fill one up in no time whatsoever.
Let's have a look at
and you can't do anything with the rest of your memory space because you've already allocated your 100 icons.
Absolutely.
And whenever you put a new stick in, so many of them are already taken up with the systems.
I mean, this is scary. Tiny Hawk, which is a mini game, comes up as in kilobytes. It's 5,632 kilobytes.
Exactly.
Now, divide 64 gig by that number of kilobytes, and you've got a hell of a lot more than 100 games that'll fit on. So that's just nuts.
Well, it's one of the things that I've always felt was a major drawback to it, and I always thought every single software update, they're going to remedy that. I'm hoping now that the people are using it with the PS4 and they're getting more interest in the unit again.
Yeah.
That that'll be pursued more.
Absolutely. The other, this is the thing, is that because the screen is so nice and because the graphical capability of the machine is so good, the games that are on it are far in advance of anything handheld up until this point. Okay, things are starting to catch up now after 2 years, but I still haven't seen anything that's playing Wipeout quite as well as this does, and handheld wise. And you've also got, this is the thing, is that you've got things like Alien Breed and Superfrog on it. And I think the biggest eye-opener for a lot of people was Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Yes.
Because if you played it on the PlayStation 3 and you play it on the Vita, you realise it's exactly the same game. Okay, the graphics aren't quite up to the standards of the PS3, but they're far closer than any other handheld device ever managed.
Now, unfortunately, there's no way we can, with the recording devices we have, show you the differences. So will you put some links down below?
Yeah, I'll pop some links down below, some of the footage from PlayStation Channel and anywhere else I can find anything of interest.
Actually, why don't you pop your original review down on there as well, because there's some phenomenal information there.
Yeah, I did a very, very lengthy review of the PlayStation Vita. Lengthy, never. If you pop to vitaplayer.co.uk, I'll pop a link down below so you can check that out. There's also a few reviews that I've done on there, as well as loads of other team members who've worked on the site. So that'll give you some of the back story about how many games are really, really good on this format that you really don't want to be missing.
Now, obviously, it's a games console, so
we can't
really go talk about the games on it because They're exactly what you expect them to be. They're good, the graphics are phenomenal, they're very easy to play, the controls are very intuitive, so all of that's fine.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of the other features.
Yes.
Movies on it look phenomenal due to the
Yes.
screen. The MP3s...
Oh yeah, I mean, it plays back MP3s really, really nicely.
Plays them back?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't make a playlist on it though,
No.
which is nuts. It's absolutely crazy. I
Okay.
use this as my Walkman.
I agree with you that that's crazy, but that's not the craziest thing about the MP3s.
Oh, absolutely not. You see these shoulder buttons which are screaming fast forward and rewind?
Or next track.
Oh yeah. No. It's only a push button. What's really worrying actually is on the video playback app for the videos that are on your memory card.
Yeah.
It still doesn't do it.
I know.
But on YouTube it does. How does that make any sense? It's crazy, absolutely nuts. But this is the thing: is to be honest, those little drawbacks I can kind of overlook simply because the playback quality of the MP3s is gorgeous and the playback quality of the videos is gorgeous.
Well, you see, now, I can't fault the technology because I genuinely think with this screen, this unit is phenomenal. I love the trim, I love the design. It's just it's a great piece, and especially considering the RIP on them has dropped a lot in the last year.
Well, actually, technically speaking, the RRP hasn't dropped, but
the
street price has come through the floor in a lot of places.
I haven't played with one with the new screen, and to tell you the truth, I don't want to.
No, it's understandable.
Just because
we've seen bits of video footage, haven't we? And we're just like, you know,
it's not good. So I won't say anything negative about the technology. So for me, the only real drawback to the unit itself is some of the software tweaks, which I've got complete confidence that now with the PS4 actually here and with people using it as a more integrated system, they're going to have to address them because a lot of people have been complaining, especially about the 100 icons.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I've not really heard many people complain that much about the MP3s, which surprises me.
To be honest, I don't think many people are using it for that because almost everybody's got an iPod.
Well, this is it. I mean, let's face it, okay? But forget individuals, just on a whole, everybody owns something for films, something for music, something for photos. The cameras on here, great, and a couple of games use them, but
they're not very high resolution.
kind of superfluous to the unit.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to do more iGames.
Yeah.
With the little cards.
Yeah, because it comes with a set of AR play cards, but there's only been a few games really that supported it. I mean,
but they were fun.
They were fun. I mean, the first few of them were actually free of charge as well.
Yeah.
To be fair, so, but yeah, there hasn't been a great deal of support for that, unfortunately. But again, I think that's mainly because, apart from a few titles, it's mainly been ports from the main consoles. Yeah. One of the biggest drawbacks it's got actually is half the Lego games that are out on it are actually ports from the 3DS versions. Yeah. So they're nowhere near the kind of quality they should be on here. Okay, so at this moment in time, there are no new handhelds being released.
No. Nintendo have sort of tipped the hat that they're working on something, but they're always working on something.
Yeah.
And we'll all buy them anyway because they're great. But Nintendo handhelds, PlayStation, totally different gaming experience, aimed at totally different markets. That always kind of grieves me when I see little children playing with them because it's like there's nowhere for you to step up to for a long time.
Yeah.
But I just think most people should have one kicking around. It's great as a little media server.
Yeah.
It hooks into the PlayStation 3, although obviously it's more integrated with the PlayStation 4. It can stream.
Yeah.
It's a nice little unit.
Absolutely, and to be honest, there is nothing more powerful you can put in your pocket.
No,
for gaming, absolutely not. Personal recommendations for games: Wipeout 2048, fantastic, and especially if you've got Wipeout HD and HD Fury on the PS3, because then it unlocks those tracks on the Vita as well, which is just brilliant. Super Stardust Delta,
see,
fantastic.
I just think the download catalogue is just phenomenal with it, and the fact that I can play some of the games that I really loved from the PS1 and PS2. Have you got any parting comments about the machine?
What you might want to do, is, as I said earlier, is check out my review on Vita Player, which is a lot more detail than we can get away with in 30 minutes on here. And also, even though the 2000 series is out, for God's sake, if you're going to get one, make sure you get a Series 1 machine, one of the earlier ones. Though, you might want to check out PS Vita TV when we get the UK release date.
Don't be spoiling that. That's gonna be a future format. And also, whilst it's out in Japan, it's not out over here yet, and we've not been given a date. No. So let's leave that one for a future episode.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook, and please do consider subscribing to us here on YouTube.
Also, on the website, we have a new website for format, which there'll be some higher resolution photos for people to get a better look, and lots more information, including all the links that you put down below.
Absolutely, and don't forget to check out our other show, Geekology, if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.
Good night. Right, well, thank you very much for watching. Would you like to do the outtakes?
Absolutely.
No?
Future episode. Shall I wrap it up?
Yeah, that's what I was aiming at. Right, so we'll save that for a future episode. Yeah, you just cut in.
So, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to, you can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Please also subscribe to us here on YouTube, and you might want to check out our new website where you'll find a...
Tell you what, you do that one.
Okay. Thank you for watching.